Level 0, $12. You have $12 in your account and 4 days until payday, and you're about to learn that money is not what you think it is. This is your life at every bank account level, from this $12 to $100 million, and what each new zero takes from you on the way up. The good news is real, so hold on to it. You get the money, all of it. The number on the screen climbs until it stops meaning anything. That's not the warning. The warning is that you will never catch the exact moment you stopped owning the money and the money started owning you. Right now, you don't have that problem. Right now, you have a checking account with $12 in it and a debit card you swipe with your eyes half closed, hoping. In the car outside the bank, a woman folds an ATM receipt and reads it twice before she pulls out of the lot, even though the number's already on the screen, even though she watched it print. She does this every Thursday. Your mother. She thinks you don't notice. You've never once had a week where money wasn't the first thought and the last. You think that's the problem. You think money is the thing standing between you and a life. You're right that it's standing there. You're wrong about what's behind it. This is the last time you'll be this free, and you won't recognize it as freedom. Nobody does. Level 1, $1,000. The first time your balance crosses 1,000 and stays there, you feel it in your shoulders. Something unclenches. You let a bill autopay without watching the date. You buy the good coffee, $5, the one with the oat milk. And you don't do the math first. For one whole week, money isn't the first thought when you wake up. That's what $1,000 buys. 1 week of not flinching. Here's the rule nobody says out loud. Below $1,000, money isn't wealth or poverty. It's oxygen, and you're either breathing or you're drowning. $1,000 is your first full breath. Then the car needs a timing belt, $900, and you're back under the water, and you learn the cruelty of the bottom. The buffer was never a buffer. It was a held breath. You tell your mother you're fine. She reads her receipt twice in the driveway and doesn't ask. A week later, Danny, broke like you, but louder, always one bet away from rich, asks to borrow $40. You have it. It's the difference between $1,040 and $1,000, sitting right there, and you hear yourself say, "You're tapped out." He says, "No worries." You both know. That's the first thing the money buys that you didn't mean to buy. The small, clean lie. And the new math where a friend is a withdrawal. What would it take to never feel the water close over your head again? You decide you're going to find out. Level 2, $50,000. $50,000 takes years, and it changes the texture of time. You have an emergency fund now, 3 months, then 6. You move it into a high-yield account paying 4.5%, and the first time the bank hands you $180 for doing nothing, you laugh out loud. Money making money. Danny's trick, except quiet, except real. You stop checking your balance out of fear and start checking it out of pleasure. The number stops being a thing you're afraid of and turns into a feeling. Danny went the other way. He asked you once, a specific window, a specific number. 15,000 would have doubled inside 4 months, he said. You did the math on paper that night. The math said maybe. You said no. You said you were in a cautious phase. He said fair enough. For 18 months, you watched his watch and felt like a coward. Danny put it all into something. It was always something. A coin, a flip, a friend's bar. And for 18 months, Danny was the richest person you knew. $400,000 and a watch he'd turn over to show you the back of. You were jealous in a way that kept you up at night. You had $50,000 in a savings account like a coward. He had a life that photographed well. You wire your mother $2,000 to fix her roof. She cries, and then she does the thing, reads the transfer confirmation twice, on her phone, at the kitchen table, like it might change. You think, I did that. I'm the reason the number got bigger. You don't notice yet that you've started measuring love in transfers. Here's what $50,000 actually buys: the ability to stop performing calm and start feeling it. And the first hint, small, easy to ignore, that you'll never be able to stop again. Level 3, $1 million. $1 million arrives less like a door opening and more like a phone call. Someone wants to manage it for you. A private bank. The kind with no branches. Just a person with a first and last name who takes your call on the second ring. You qualify now. You're a client. There's a tier. The first time Paul calls you back in under a minute, you sit in your car for a second before answering. Not because you're busy, because nobody has ever called you back that fast. You've spent your whole life being the person who waits. And here's the thing, every level below was hiding from you. You spent the whole climb believing you were chasing the money. That money was the prize waiting at the end of the work. But the moment the money gets big enough to need managing, it hires you back. It hands you a job. Keep existing, keep it safe, keep it growing. Don't touch the principal. You're no longer the person who owns the money. You're the person the money keeps on staff because you're loyal and you work cheap. Every dollar you ever chased was an interview. You just got the job. You think back to the $5 coffee and the held breath at $1,000, and you see it clearly now. You were never climbing toward freedom. You were climbing toward a better paid version of obedience. You think about calling your mother to tell her, and you can't. There's no version of the sentence that doesn't come out in a language she never got taught. So you don't. Danny calls. Danny lost all of it. The $400,000 and then the borrowed money stacked on top. He's sleeping at his sister's. He sounds somehow lighter than you. At least I spent mine, he says. He's joking. You laugh. Neither of you means it as a joke. Your daughter is 2 now. She will never see a balance under $1 million. She'll inherit a number and none of the climb, which means she'll inherit the obedience without ever knowing it was supposed to be a prize. Level 4, $10 million. At $10 million, the gain is real, and I won't pretend it isn't. You fly private once, and your body forgets how to tolerate an airport ever again. You solve problems with money so fast, they stop registering as problems. A leak, a lawsuit, a school waitlist, a number makes it vanish. That's the drug, not the jet, the vanishing. And then you stop touching the money at all. It moves through structures, a trust, an LLC, a family office run by a man named Paul, who calls it the portfolio, and never your money. And he's right, it isn't. Not in any way you can feel. You own 4 properties, and you've slept in one of them 11 nights this year. There's a guest wing at the lake house that has never held a guest. The bed is made. The towels are folded and changed every week by someone you pay. For no one. You could stop here. 10 million, you could simply stop. Live on the yield. Never earn another dollar. You run the math one night. The math says yes. You don't stop. Nobody does. The money has momentum now, and you're its passenger. You try to give your mother a house. She won't take it. Too big, she says. Who'd clean it? So you buy the one she actually wants, small, near her sister, and you furnish it. And the day she moves in, she stands in the kitchen and reads the closing documents twice, slowly, the same way she read the ATM slips. You feel something you can't name. You change the subject. Danny's a contractor now. He framed a house 2 towns over and didn't realize it was yours until he saw the address. He texted, "Small world, LOL." You stared at it for a long time. You typed 3 different replies. You sent none of them. You don't know what language to use anymore. Level 5, $100 million. $100 million isn't a number you reach. It's a number that reaches a velocity. At this level, the money grows faster than any human could spend it. 8, 10 million a year just existing. More than you earned in your first working decade, arriving while you sleep. By any measure a kid with $12 in the account could imagine, you've won. Won completely. There's nothing on a menu you read the right side of. There's no room you can't walk into. There's a house on a coast you've seen once that the staff airs out every spring for a visit you keep not making. And you finally understand the woman in the car. Your mother is old now. You fly her out. She sits on a terrace that costs more per month than the house she raised you in cost outright. And she picks up the bank statement you didn't mean to leave on the table. The one with the number that ends in 8 figures. And she reads it twice, slowly, the same way. And you realize you had it wrong your entire life. You thought she read the slip twice because she was afraid the money wasn't there. But she has more now than she could ever spend. And she still reads it twice. Because the reading was never about fear. It was the 1 minute of her day that belonged only to her. A small private ceremony of attention. In a life where attention was the only thing nobody could take. You spent 40 years pitying a ritual you should have been learning. Your daughter is 16. She has never read a balance in her life. The number is a given. Like weather. Like the sky being up. She's kind. And she's bored. And she'll inherit $100 million and the full-time job of guarding it. And she'll never once feel what you felt at 1,000. The shoulders coming down. The first full breath. You bought her a life with no bottom to push off of. You're 60 now, and the house is quiet. And you catch yourself at the kitchen island with a statement you asked Paul to mail you, on paper, because the screen never felt like anything. You read it twice, slowly. You don't check the number. You know the number. You're just taking the 1 minute of the day that's only yours. This is what $100 million is. Enough money to finally afford the thing your mother did for free. If this one landed, subscribe, drop a like. There's more coming. Everybody thinks the climb is about escaping the bottom. But the bottom was the only place you ever got to feel money in your hands. The only altitude where a single dollar could change a day. You spend your whole life buying your way up to where money can't reach you anymore. And then you miss it. Somewhere, your daughter opens her first account that isn't a trust. The teller asks if she'd like a receipt. She almost says no. Then, not knowing why, she says yes, and reads it twice. The balance is $11 she put there herself. It always starts there.